Peace, loves. Thank you so much for joining me here in this moment. My name is Christina and welcome to the channel. So, I want to share with you guys how I discovered that I was pregnant. I think this story is just so beautiful, so amazing. It's unique. It's my own story, and I know every woman's story is different. So, I conceived my beautiful child, I'm still pregnant, in the Andes Mountains of Ecuador. Um, I didn't really know once I conceived my child, like when I backtrack on all of the events that were happening during that time, I just know that I was very, very happy. Me and my partner, we were very, very happy and just all into each other's energy. And I just remember we had got invited to do the plant medicine San Pedro. And so San Pedro is this grandfather spirit, very, very loving, is very heart opening plant medicine that is found all throughout the Andes. And so we got invited by some friends to sit with this medicine. Now, before I came to Ecuador, I was already interested in sitting with plant medicine, in particular ayahuasca. But after some contemplation, I decided that I wanted to just go ahead and go to Ecuador, develop relationships before I decided to just, book a stay at some type of resort to sit with the plant medicine. I actually wanted to develop relationships with the locals, and I wanted the plant medicine to call me, through the people. So yeah, it's like me and my partner, we had just came back from vacation. We had a really great time. We were getting settled back into the place that we were staying, and we got invited to sit with San Pedro. And so I had to be about 4 weeks pregnant at the time. I was very, very early when I found out. And I kind of feel like when the moment that we had intercourse, the last time, it was like I kind of knew I was pregnant then, but I was just like, I don't know. Like, it's like I knew when it instantly happened. But yeah, in this story, I'm going to tell you how I knew. Like, I knew. So we sat with San Pedro, and San Pedro, it's like this liquid. It's like this brew. It's kind of bitter. It's like this dark drink. And I remember coming into the ceremony, and one of the facilitators, she was a pregnant woman, and I just kept looking at her belly. I think she was like 5 months at the time, and I just kept looking at her belly, and I was just like, oh, it's just so beautiful. This is like, I really don't know what to expect. I never did San Pedro before. I'm taking psilocybin, but I've never taken San Pedro, and I don't know what to expect with this medicine. So I'm just like super, super open. My partner was there. He was sitting with the medicine. We had some other friends that were there. And so it was just a very, very open, loving space, welcoming. And so I took my first cup of San Pedro and went, and I like just laid down. And in the space that we took the medicine, we were outside, and we were right in the middle of where two rivers meet. So it was like this beautiful portal of energy, and literally I just started to feel deeply into my body. They offered us a second cup of San Pedro, and so I took the second cup of San Pedro, and after the second cup, maybe after the third cup, I think I took 3 cups of San Pedro. After the third cup, I really started to feel into the elements that were around me. San Pedro really connects you to the external environment, like your internal world, but also the external. You are being connected with nature. So I'm seeing different shapes in the rocks and in the sky and the river. And we really wanted to encompass all of the elements in this ceremony. So we also had a fire going, and we had to make sure that throughout the ceremony we just kept the fire going by putting sticks and things in the fire. And we sung different songs, and we also had the opportunity to like just free up. So I just remember I went down to the river and I just stripped. Like, I just didn't want my clothes on anymore, and I just like sat. I did a squat. I got into a squat position in right in front of the river, and I just started pushing on my belly. It's like pushing on my belly, like it felt like I was giving birth. And I just stayed there. Like, it was just so interesting to me because I was like sitting there as if something was going to come out of me, like, and I didn't really know what, like, it wasn't like I was thinking I had to like use the restroom or anything like that. Like, I was just pushing on my stomach, like, just like, and not really squeezing, but like allowing the energy to flow, because it really felt like something was inside of me. And I remember after that I put my clothes back on and I went back up to the group, and I just kept coming back to the water and taking my clothes off, getting in the squat position, and like moving like whatever was inside of me. And I'm like moving my stomach and, you know, moving around my intestinal tract, trying to figure out like what's inside of me. I'm trying to push it out. I'm trying to get it out. And then we all came back to the fire, and we started to share about how our journeys were going so far, what was coming up. And I just kept looking at the facilitator, who was pregnant, like just with a smile. And, you know, while it was happening, you know, I'm just feeling so much love and bliss. It's a lot of healing. It was like I was healing this mother wound that was inside of me. The ceremony was guided by women, so I really got to receive a lot of feminine, maternal energy during that ceremony, even though San Pedro is like a masculine type of medicine. And so I just remember sharing with the group, like, it feels like I'm giving birth. It feels like I'm pushing something like a baby, like I'm giving birth to something. And everyone got to share, but I just remember after the ceremony, I don't know what I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be like mushrooms, where, you know, maybe after like 8 hours it wears off. But San Pedro, it took like, we took the medicine at about like 9 o'clock in the morning, and it didn't wear off until the next day. So it was about an 18-hour ceremony. And so I just remember after we left, because the ceremony was from 9 to 5, and then we all went back. Some of us went back into the town, and me and my partner, we got some snacks and stuff like that. And after the ceremony, there was like this beautiful rainbow. Like, if you can imagine two rivers meeting, there's like these mountains, and then right over where the two rivers are like coming, there's this rainbow. And it was so vibrant, and it felt like that rainbow was just for us. And the way that it was positioned, we knew that it was just for us. Like, no, I'm pretty sure no one else in that valley could see that rainbow. So, okay, ceremony ended. We had this beautiful fruit feast. We went into town. I got some snacks and some food to make some tacos. And I just remember me and my partner, we went back to the house, and we were just talking, and I was just telling him about my experience. He was sharing about mine, and we got to talk about a lot of just deep stuff. And one of the things that they said while we were in the ceremony was that the work doesn't start during the ceremony. The ceremony initiates the work, but the work starts like after the ceremony. So there's going to be things that just come up, and you're just going to have to work through it. And that was so true, because right after that, me and my partner, we really started to like go through it and just discover all of these things that were like hidden in the darkness that we really had to work through. And I just remember, I don't know, I was just laying down and I'm like asking my partner, like I didn't know, how many days are like in a woman's cycle. And you know, I'm like counting the days of like when my last period was. But it was like ever since that ceremony, I just knew that I was pregnant, but I didn't want to believe it, you know, because how could a medicine, like, how could I know? Like, how could I know like that without having taken like a pregnancy test, and I didn't feel anything. But during that ceremony, it felt like I was like giving birth. And so, even after that, it was just like, I just knew with my entire being that I was pregnant. And I just kept asking, like, you know, a day would go by and I'd just be like asking questions about a woman's cycle or pregnancy or whatever. And he's like just reassuring me, oh, you're good, you know, you're not pregnant, whatever, your period's gonna come. Because from October, or from I'd say like November to January, I had like this health crisis. I went to the valley. I came to the Valley of Longevity. So I came to the Andes Mountains in October of 2023. It was by November when I started having like a health crisis, is what I'll call it, where I had like 3 periods, or yeah, 3 periods within 2 months. And they were so debilitating. I was so weak. You know, I'm eating like this beautiful food, like high raw, in this pristine environment. And my body was just like collapsing on me. Like I couldn't get out of the bed. I didn't have much energy. And my partner was just telling me like, yeah, you're just adjusting to the elevation, and was just there to like, you know, make smoothies for me and teas for me, and to make sure that I was okay, and just make different tinctures, and I was okay. So by the time January came around, it was like I had this brand new body, this brand new vehicle. And February came and we took this trip, and then we came back from like this month-long kind of vacation, and then boom, we did San Pedro. Once we got settled in, and next thing you know, I find out that, you know, I'm feeling into my body that I'm pregnant. So me and my partner ended up having like this huge disagreement, to where I had to take some space. And I just remember I got a room in town, and I'm just like lying on the bed. I'm lying on the bed, and I'm just like, why do I feel like a heartbeat? Why do I feel a heartbeat? What is this? And in my mind, I'm like, you're pregnant. It was so funny because I tried to act like I didn't know. I really tried to act like I didn't know. As I wasn't throwing up, I wasn't having morning sickness, none of that, but I just knew I was pregnant. So I said, okay, tomorrow when I get up, I'm gonna go take a pregnancy test. And so, because even the year before, like, I was having like issues with my period, to where I did come on my period for 2 months. So it's like, okay, I'm having these ups and downs being on my period. I don't know if it's my diet, I don't know if it's environment, I don't know. So the next day I go and I get the pregnancy test. And I went to the store, and there was like these two different ones. There was a $3 pregnancy test, and there was a $7 pregnancy test. So I said, okay, let me take the $3 pregnancy test. And it's so funny because Ecuador is a Spanish speaking country, so I didn't even know how to say pregnancy test in Spanish. So I get this pregnancy test, the $3 one. take it back to the hotel, and I pee on it, and man, usually they say it takes like a couple minutes for the lines to show up. They showed up so quick, like literally so quick. It was 2 lines, and I was like, I gotta go back. I gotta get that $7 pregnancy test. So I I go back. I get the $7 pregnancy test, and then I go back to my hotel, and again, the 2 lines came back so fast, and I just sat there in awe, like, I can't believe I wasted my money on these pregnancy tests when I knew. The San Pedro told me, my mind told me, my body told me, everything told me that I was pregnant. And so, yeah, this is the story of how I found out that I was pregnant. I was sitting with San Pedro, the wonderful plant medicine of San Pedro that is growing abundantly in the Andes Mountains. I was sitting with San Pedro, and I discovered that I was pregnant. And in hindsight, as I like share this story, I really think it's a beautiful story because, again, when I was sitting with San Pedro, this ceremony was facilitated by women, and one of the women was an elder woman. The other woman was a young pregnant woman, and then her dad was there. Her dad's a shaman, and so he was there to like hold down the energy. And so and throughout the ceremony, the elder woman, she would come and like she would like stroke my hair, she would give me kisses, and just it was just such a healing experience of like just receiving that whatever mother wound that I had, I felt like I was able to really heal it in that moment and just get this love that I've always wanted, to be touched in a way by a woman, by an elder woman that I've never been touched before. And then it was like right after that, I'm down at the river, just stroking my stomach, like working it so that I can get whatever is in out. And I'm like coming back like, oh, it just feels like I'm giving birth. I didn't say it felt like I gave birth. I said I felt like I'm giving birth. And so, yeah, like in hindsight, it's just so interesting how we are able to explore these parts of ourselves, how we are able to come into a knowing, how things manifest in our lives. And I truly feel like this experience that I've had as a pregnant woman has been a very supernatural experience, coming to Ecuador. And one day I will share how me and my partner met. Maybe one day I will have him on here. We can share that story. But even then, it was just so magical how we connected, and then we separated and we came back together, and we really worked to like heal and to build up our minds and our bodies. And then we are both sitting with this medicine, and and this is not the first medicine that we sat with. We actually sat with another medicine before, with psilocybin. So I have to share that story too. But we sat with San Pedro together, and so it's just so beautiful of me, myself, coming into this mother energy, because it felt like these women were passing the baton to me, like this elder woman and this young pregnant woman, this mother, this maiden. It was like I was the maiden, the pregnant woman was the mother, and then the elder woman was the crone. And so it was like the maiden and the crone and the mother were passing the torch on to me as I was coming out of this maiden energy. And yeah, it's just like so beautiful. And it was also so beautiful to like see my partner who was there, and just to like see him do his work, and to know that, you know, in the midst of it all, like he, like it would just be so beautiful to see him like glance over at me to make sure that I'm okay. And I could tell that he wanted to be by my side, but I was going through my process, and so he's like, okay, you got this, you know. And it was a very beautiful energy to be in. And so, yeah, I want to share this story with you because I know that sometimes when we think of pregnancy, um, things can just be very surface level. And I am a person who loves to explore the depths of life. You know, I want to go through all of the layers, all of the dimensions, and just see what's there, feel what's there, hear what's there. And I really feel that during this time I've been able to do that, and I want to share more of my journey with you guys so that you can get a glimpse of what this can look like, you know, for yourself. And um, or even if you are going through it yourself, like just having someone to share their story so that you don't feel alone in these supernatural happenings that happen. So yes, thank you guys so much. Thank you guys so much for being here. Peace. Oh, my baby, my belly.